Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316. Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of the Lonesome Cowboy Podcast. And on this end, coming all the way from Indiana?
That's correct.
Indiana, you're the second guy. You're the second guy, James Guetta. James Guetta is from Indiana area too, and another great singer-songwriter. And this is Damon Dorsey, or sometimes better known as Ultimate Rick Jones.
That is correct. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. Your bio in Threads is the one that got me going because I went, oh, he likes horror movies. Oh,
I do. I love horror.
I wonder if he likes classic horror movies. Oh, he likes comics. I wonder if he likes the comics I like.
Well, yeah, right. Exactly. No, I suspect you and I have a great deal of overlap.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I've neglected reading my comics, unfortunately, but
I have too, but I was very much into them as a younger man, and still
there you
go.
We're
quite love them.
We are not going to not talk about those. How's that?
There you go.
All right. Damon.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how Ultimate Rick Jones came about. This is I'm intrigued because I hear, and you tell it how you want to tell it, but I hear different music styles.
Yeah.
And I hear different voices. And then I go, this is interesting. So go on and tell the folks.
Well, I would love to tell you that it's all part of a grand plan that I laid out well ahead of time, but mostly I'm kind of making it up as I go along. So, but yeah, I've been writing songs, and I've been kind of a singer-songwriter guy, the guy with his acoustic guitar. That was always my dream. I was going to be that guy. I was going to write those songs. I was going to be me and my guitar against the world. And so I started writing songs and I played them, but then I got a job and I did other things, and I never, became a famous musician, but I always kept a hand in, I was always really interested in music. So I had a buddy back in 2023, my friend Chris, he has got a band called The Cliffs is his band, and they were working on an EP. And he kind of said, you got all these songs. Why don't you maybe do an album? And so I made a goal. I was going to make an album in 2023. And when 2023 was almost over and that hadn't happened, my friend said, hey, how about you do one song? Just pick one that you really like, do it the way you like, and put it out there and see what happens. And so I did that. And late in 2023, I did a song called Peculiar Bird that I had written. That was kind of a gentle sort of acoustic thing.
I listened to that one. I like that one.
Oh, thank you. And I had always kind of, pictured it with some different instrumentation that I myself could not do. So I did what I could. I could play the guitar part and I could sing it. And then I reached out and hired some people to help me finish it, to a drummer, a clarinet player, because I really wanted a horn on it, and a bass player. And, that experience kind of changed my world, to hear a song like that I had invited other people to work on. And it was just a great experience to work with other people. They brought things to that song that I had never imagined or heard. And I was very excited by that and got kind of, excited about working with other folks. And so I just kind of kept going. From there, I had a backlog of these songs that I'd kind of written and, played on my acoustic guitar for years. And I'm like, what can we make of them? And I had many years ago had a buddy, Scott Cooley, who's a singer-songwriter as well. Scott has a number of albums out, and I dig Scott's songs. But he had told me, I asked him years ago, I'm like, Scott, if there's one thing you could do different, like what would you do? And he said, I don't think I would release it under my own name. I think I would use like a different name. I think I would have like another name because he thought it would give him some different options. Like he would have had using his own name felt kind of limiting in a way. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It had never occurred to me. And I'd be interested in your take on it because you operate under your own name seemingly with no difficulty. But so, yeah. that
and
was kind of the impetus.
that's cool. Interesting. Yeah.
Um,
Well, and why Ultimate Rick Jones? Like, is that just
yeah.
something?
Oh,
No.
well, whenever part of the fun, I say, is there any artist who doesn't have a list of band names? Like someday when you get to name a band, I'm going to pull out this list of great band names.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
yeah, I started writing down some band names along the way. I was hoping to kind of start a band locally here and get folks, and that never quite
Sure, sure.
panned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I from my comic book days, Rick Jones was kind of the guy who was sort of always at the periphery of all the important things in the Marvel universe. I think he was there when they found Captain America. He was there. He was the guy
Oh,
who they throw into the ditch when the Hulk gets irradiated. So he was kind of like the Forrest Gump of the Marvel universe. He was always close to greatness, but never there. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a neat name to
I
make him
love it.
ultimate Rick and Jay, like the ultimate
Oh,
everyman was
you,
kind of the idea.
you need a website, man, because those are stories that have to be on there. Those are
Well,
great.
thank you, bro.
That's
Appreciate
outstanding.
that.
Now you're doing things a little bit different as a DIY
Yeah,
musician.
yeah,
Like I said, the first thing I did was start Googling Ultimate Rick Jones, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden I find out, wait a minute, that's not how he signed his email.
Ooh, see,
And yeah, and then but
it's
you
true.
don't have a website, and
I
you're
don't
doing
right
things a little
now.
differently now. Is it because you're just getting in, like putting yourself out there, or is it just a different technique you're trying? Because Lord knows everybody's doing something
Yeah, I mean, I
different.
guess, I think it started kind of as a bit of happenstance, and now I'm sort of seeing, well, maybe it is a little different than other people. I sort of operate largely through my Bandcamp page is kind of where I
Mhm.
push people
Yeah, right.
because Bandcamp lets me, do the text and I can put my pictures up and I can kind of make it the multimedia thing that I want
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Bandcamp.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, so I've kind of pushed people there, but yeah, I think I'm certainly interested in having a website. I just don't have one yet.
There
So
you go.
so I think that we'll put that on the to-do list. I think
Yeah.
another thing that, I noticed just listening to a lot of other folks on your podcast, a lot of folks play live a lot, and I don't. I'm not a live
Uh,
player. I'm
you're not.
sort of I tend towards the songwriter end of that singer-songwriter
I'm glad you finished
pairing.
that sentence. He says, "I'm not a live player."
Live player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
that thing.
You're
Yeah,
not.
that's right.
Then
Yeah,
who the hell
which
am I
is
talking to if you're not alive?
yeah. It's not that I haven't done it, and it's fun, and love to go listen to live music. My wife and I live in a place with lots of great live music, so we could go hear it. But yeah, when it comes to creating, I kind of just have gotten much more interested in the arrangement and kind of the writing of the songs and kind of what we can make of these. So to your comment about a fair amount of variety in the tunes, a lot of that has been sort of having fun and discovering as I go, like what we can make of these songs. Like
Yeah,
I did
right.
it this way, but it maybe doesn't have to be that. Like it could be a lot of different things. So I've been having some fun kind of opening it up and reaching out to folks and having some back and forth, and it's
Yeah.
been really enjoyable.
Now, is that you on vocals for Peculiar Bird?
It is, yeah. That's
Oh,
me. I
yeah.
do most of the vocals. I've got a couple vocalists. I've got a couple tracks that are sung by a female vocalist, Paz
Hmm.
Strach. Paz just did When I Was Cruel, which is the latest tune I released
Right. Yep.
earlier this month. She's a beautiful voice, an Argentinian singer, songwriter, and fronts her own
Hmm.
trio. So yeah, but most of them are me. And I've been enjoying having some other folks sing my songs too, which I think if you're a songwriter who's never enjoyed that experience, I highly recommend hearing
Uh,
your songs come out of another songwriter's mouth. It's
well,
it's an enjoyable and a learning experience for me.
Damon, I gotta say this. You took me aback
Yeah.
because I thought, oh, well, he's like really just starting kind of thing. It would be great to get his perspective, and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I start listening to your songs and I went, holy crap, is this guy, how long has this guy been doing it? And how
Yeah.
long? Like, I mean, because Rick, they're clean, they're polished,
Oh, thank you.
they're well
Thank you.
done,
That's very it's
and your voice is great. So if you don't play live,
thank
it's a
you.
shame because you're,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Well, that's
And
that's very nice coming from you,
well, hey,
particularly.
man, I'm just telling you what I like to hear. So, yeah, you took me aback with that. I just wanted to let you know that, and in a good way, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, no, I've been at it for a little while, and I think probably like you, I've loved music my whole life, and
Well,
have
yeah.
sort of been a student of it and studied it, and kind of think of myself as a music nerd. Who knows all this? Like, well, I know who wrote that song. Is like that guy sang it, but he's not the one who wrote it. Those kind of things that get me not invited to a lot of parties. but, but yeah, I just love that kind of stuff, and so to really kind of sink into that aspect of it, and just think about songs as the song can be a lot of things. It doesn't have to just be this one thing that I imagined it when I wrote it. Maybe it could have some different lives.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when I was doing my research on you, I came across a photo of you, and you didn't have
Yeah.
glasses on, and, and,
No,
and you didn't have
these
that
were
gray
not the same.
hair, and
That's
you were
right.
holding the
This
guitar, and you
was
looked, and I went, "Oh, well, he has been at it for quite some time."
yeah, yeah. I had a little college band in college. We tried to play, but never
Nice.
really played out anywhere, and kind of, played with folks here locally off and on, but never quite got a band together. We try to get four adults in a room at the same time is a trick. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
hilarious. I love it. I totally love it. So you can say you've been playing since you were how old?
Yeah, probably. I think I started, my dad played a little bit as a
Sure.
teenager. And
Yeah.
so when I got to be a teenager, we had a guitar hanging on the wall and never had any strings. I'm like, Dad, can we put strings on that and you teach me how to play it? And he did. He taught me, a few chords, E, A, B, is
Yeah, sure. All
some
that
sort of
fun
like,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some, honky tonk licks and stuff that he knew as a young man. So I kind of started around 16 and just, didn't know much for a long time. I got lucky. When I went to college, I met a buddy who had been playing since he was 10 and he was really good. And I lived with him for a few years and learned a lot, kind of just picking it up
Hmm.
from him. Yeah, and started writing songs kind of around then and just sort of wrote them and stowed them away and played them for people when they'd come over to the house or whatnot, but didn't really play out or try to get them out into the
Sure.
world. So yeah, I got a whole stack of tunes that kind of wrote and never went anywhere that I can pick through, which is kind of a fun pile to have now.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, that's something. So tell me about this band that isn't an Argentinian band,
It is
but is an
despite, right. It
Argentinian
is
band.
kind of an Argentinian band.
Yeah, like you're connecting with people in Argentina. Like what? Tell me
Yeah.
the story behind all that connection.
Yeah, so well, this is a kind of an interesting thing. I started reaching out. I'd kind of gotten to that point where I really wanted to play the clarinet for Peculiar Bird, and I'm like, how many years am I going to have to spend to learn the clarinet? I'm like, is it really worth that? I'm like, maybe it's not. So that was the point at which I said, you know what, I can't do all these things myself, and that's okay. I didn't feel like I needed to,
Hmm.
and so I started to reach out to folks. There's a site called Air Gigs, which is kind of like eBay for musicians,
Yes,
where
as
if
a
you're a
matter of fact.
musician,
Yeah. I just
yeah,
interviewed a guy this afternoon that used that. His
yeah,
interview's coming up later. Yeah.
yeah, and I did too. I found a lot of folks there initially, and oddly, I just sort of started picking people. You could listen to them, you could talk to them, and I built a crew that was primarily from Argentina, sort of by happenstance. They were just the people that I liked. I have a bass player, a horn player, a Paz, the vocalist they're all Argentinian. I've worked with them over and over again. And so, yeah, I jokingly say that Ultimate Rick Jones is an Argentinian band because the bulk of people who've played it, there's more people from Argentina in Ultimate Rick Jones than anywhere else.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's great. They're wonderful musicians. They're really just open to collaborating, and so that's been a lot of fun. And as I started initially kind of finding people to do this, and now people are hearing the music, and other artists are saying, "Hey, I like that. Maybe we could work on something." And so some collaborations are starting to spring out of that, and I'm real
Hmm.
excited about that too, to get a chance to kind of work with other people. So the band changing. It's a little fluid, kind of depending on the song. We tend to have I use mostly the same bass player for everything because I love my bass player, and I generally sing on most things, but not everything. Um, Chris McConnell is my executive producer who's here local. Chris is also a great guitar player and a singer, does backing vocals for me and a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I'm really lucky to have him. But yeah, I've been lucky to work with folks in I don't know, not Antarctica yet, but every other continent for sure.
In Antarctica, you might get an Inuit person playing
That's
something really
that
wild.
that's right. A part we wouldn't expect, I
Yeah,
bet.
that's awesome. Yeah, great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about something else I read on your threads about You got a thing for, and it said RPGs. Now this is
Oh,
role-playing game.
role-playing games. I've been a role-playing gamer since I was 9, I
Oh, so
think. So
you
yeah,
started with the D&D
I
way
did
back?
had the red D&D basic box set. I cajoled my mother into buying
The
me at the grocery store.
the red box, the infamous
That's right,
red
the red
box.
box,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And
right.
I
Yeah.
know when you say red box, you know what that box looks like. We know what
Yeah.
that box looks
I
like.
think I started playing at 14 and they had
Yeah.
these brown little paper pamphlet type
Oh yeah,
books.
the little brown
Yeah.
pamphlets. Wow.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
just 8.5 by 11 sheets folded, stapled in the middle. And I went, okay, that's how you play.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
right.
yeah, and then away you went. So you do that kind of fun stuff, that thing. And comics is your big thing too.
Yeah, I love comics. I just love, anything kind of art or story related. I'm
Hmm.
about, comics and television shows. You want to talk movies, horror movies, I'm down with
Uh,
all that stuff. Art, I love, uh, comic art is kind of what I cut my teeth on growing up.
yeah, same
But
here.
then I got into painters later and learned about abstract expressionism and got, so I just anything you want to talk about like visual or story stuff, man, I'm your guy. So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So, I gotta say, are you a Marvel or DC guy?
That's a tough one. I
Yeah.
I was always really a DC guy back in the day.
Yeah, I
Honestly.
still am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame. Yeah, I think I would probably still be too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I like, the Marvel movies are fun, and I didn't dislike the Marvel books. There's plenty of fun stuff there, but I always
Yeah.
loved sort of the edge of the DC and kind of there was a fun darkness to that universe that I liked a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so here's your tough question that I'm
Okay.
going to pull for you when it comes to these three areas of your hobbies that you enjoy.
Okay. I'm ready.
Tell me
Stealing
your
myself.
top comic, top horror film, top RPG game.
Ooh, okay. My top comic is a book called Hellblazer, written by Jamie Delano back in the 80s. It was it was the John Constantine. It was later made into a movie, but he's sort of a Englishman rake who has no powers, but sort of just gets by with like hedge magic and making deals and drinking and smoking a lot. So he
Okay,
was
cool.
kind of
Cool, cool.
a great book. My top horror movie. Oh man, that's hard. I'm going to give you two answers. One, there's always a horror movie that I love that I feel like I can't recommend to anybody because it's like too violent or graphic. That's probably the movie Martyrs, which is a French horror movie, which I
I've heard
love.
about this just recently.
It's very graphic. I wouldn't yeah. So if you're really into horror movies and the violence doesn't bother you, it's a great movie, but it's hard to watch. There's another movie if you're not that deep into horror but want to kind of see a great movie. There's a movie called Ghost Stories from 2017 that I think
Ah,
is amazing and tells an arc of a few stories and kind of an overarching story and is really clever and smart. So
there you
top
go.
RPG, man, it's got to be Dungeons and Dragons. I
There
guess
you
I've been
go.
playing that game since I was 9, so it's still sticking. But there's
I
lots of great games, but
oh
that
yeah.
one, yeah, still hangs on for me.
Yeah, I haven't played any others, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I just never got around to
yeah,
it. I played the video games and away you went. So there you
yeah.
go.
Well, it's so rich.
Outstanding. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
great.
Yeah, so that's great. Hey, if you want to try new comics, don't forget there's Canadian ones.
That's right.
Captain Canuck. I actually
Captain
interviewed
Canuck.
Captain Canuck, the
See,
creator thereof,
that's
Richard
right. See,
Cumley. Yeah.
hey, a lot of our Wolverine's Canadian. We get
Yes, he
a
is.
lot of our famous,
Yeah.
Alpha Flight. I was a big Alpha Flight fan back in the day. I know
There
the
you go.
Canadian heroes.
Exactly. So, for you, it's all about songwriting.
Yeah.
It's the genre, who sings it, etc. It doesn't matter to you. And you don't care whether you're out front or not.
Yeah,
Um,
increasingly less so. And yeah, like I thought that I was going to write Americana music and I was going to make Americana music when I had the chance. And I started once I got the chance to make music. That wasn't exactly what I did.
yeah. So it's it's not easy for an artist to get out of his own way, or out of
It's
their
not.
own way.
Yeah.
And you did that, and the fella that I interviewed this afternoon did the same thing. His next album
Nice.
coming out, believe it or not, he's not singing on it, and
That's amazing. I
he's
think
not
that's
singing
great.
on it at all, and
Yeah.
he doesn't play the lead, which he's a lead guitar
Yeah.
player, very
Yeah.
good, but he
Yeah.
doesn't do it on every
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, I says, man, like Yeah, I'm older now too, but I don't know if I could get out of my way like that.
Yeah. Mm.
I really don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's admirable, but guys like you can get out of the way and serve the song like that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. And I'm learning as I go too. I think I'll probably be better at getting out of my own way as I keep going. But yeah, it's been good, and I've learned a little. And yeah, I don't always have to be out in front. Sometimes the song is better served by somebody else. And that's kind of a cool feeling to have when you do it, you turn it over to somebody and the result's really good. It's like I've been
Hmm.
really happy when I've turned them over to folks and let somebody else take the lead once in a while.
Yeah. Do you record at home or do you contract out a studio?
I record at home.
Nice. So that's the other DIY saving money
That
methods, eh?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Make it pretty simple. Yeah, and I think most of the folks that I work with do as well. I think I have a horn player I work with who I know has to contract studio space sometimes for that
Hmm.
kind of work. But yeah, most everybody else I think is working at home these days. It's an interesting world, our digital world.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot different. I usually talk to my artists about audiences and when they're playing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I know you know what you got to do. You got to get out there and start testing the waters
Yeah.
and find out whether you yeah, if you're anything like I was, I'd be like, maybe I'll just go back to the studio.
Well, anything worth being good at takes practice, I guess. So you got
Yeah,
to get out there and do it. So
that's about it. So as songwriting, and for me, it's always the biggest problem.
yeah,
Melody.
yeah,
I start with lyrics.
yeah. Mm,
I've been
me too.
trying to force myself with melody.
Yeah.
What's your key for finding the melody start point?
You know what I find is what I've done the last couple times. I think I've messed up some melodies before by picking up the guitar too fast. I pick
Oh,
up the guitar too fast, and my hand goes to certain keys that I just am familiar with, certain chord shapes, certain, and I think sometimes I can lose a melody that's like nascent, that's just sort of coming in my head if it's just a vocal melody that maybe I've been repeating to myself. So I've started recording them. As soon as I get them, I grab my phone, I just make a little note and record the melody as I hear it or as it's sort of developing, and I won't let myself touch an instrument for a while until I have it kind of
hmm.
worked out. And that helped the last time I did this. But I had a melody idea then too, and I don't always. Sometimes I struggle to go from the lyric to the melody. For it's like that's what I want to say, but how are we going to sing that? Like, how do I deliver that in a way that's appealing and that you can engage with, and that does
Yeah.
some of the satisfying things.
I'm the same. I start with the guitar.
Do you? Yeah.
I do have lyrics and sometimes, but I
Okay.
start
Yeah.
with the guitar because, and I usually don't go to the guitar until I have some lyrics.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I can't find a melody in my head. That's the worst part.
Oh, so
I have to hit a note of
okay,
some
and then
kind
find it sort
and
of
then
from the
go,
sound.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
go, what would this sound like? Mate, no, that kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah,
See,
yeah,
my problem is I'll hear a melody in my head and then I'll pick up the guitar and I'll go, that note I heard was C. It wasn't. But now that I have the guitar in my hand, I'm
yeah,
convinced it was C. So I've sort of
yeah.
like changed it. But yeah, I work that way too, Brian. A lot of times sometimes a song, I'll be lucky enough, it'll kind of come and I'll have a chunk of lyrics. And then I'll often just sit down at the guitar and try some different patterns, I often start by kind of imitating songs I've heard or things that are in my head and try to find something original from there.
I've done that. I've listened to melodies and I gone, ooh, I
Yeah.
like that note or the
Yeah.
way it goes, and I'll
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
And in a different key and different words, nobody would ever know
mhm.
where it came from, right?
Yeah. In a
So yeah.
previous show that I used to do, I interviewed a well-known Canadian artist. You might know of her, Sylvia Tyson,
Oh yeah.
Ian and Sylvia.
Yeah.
And Sylvia told me that when she composes, she goes for a walk,
Oh,
and
it does it
it's
all.
and I think she realizes if
Yeah.
it's a good melody, she'll remember it when she gets home.
Still have it.
Yeah.
That's
And I was
amazing.
like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I don't have much of a musical mind for holding it, so I write down a lot, I record a
Mhm.
lot, just
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
don't lose it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, lately it's my wife who's been coming to me with melody ideas.
Oh, that's
She'll
good.
she'll grabs the phone. She doesn't care what the camera sees or anything, and she'll just sing it in there because you get a better quality sound and
Right.
say,
Yeah, there you go.
"Here, what do you think of that?" And I'll go, "Okay, let's do something."
That's right. We could use that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, a
Well,
lot of those digital tools are kind of fun if you find a cool way to use them that doesn't interrupt your flow. I use
yeah,
it a lot.
there you go. And of course, you have the infamous songwriters T-shirt, three chords
Oh,
in the
it's three
truth.
chords in the truth, man.
That's
I
it.
had to wear it.
There it is.
I wore
Attaboy.
it for yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I believe it. Those are all the people I grew up, loving and listening to.
Yeah,
Three
I
chords in the
apparently they have a four chords in the Truth Festival now. I guess they think,
truth. Added. That's jazz, man.
yeah, really, no
He
kidding.
had four chords.
Yeah, you know the difference between jazz and rock and roll, right?
No, what's the difference between
Damon?
jazz and rock and roll?
Well, jazz, it's a guy playing 3,000 chords to three people, and rock and roll is a guy playing three chords to 3,000 people.
It's pretty great.
Sir, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Oh,
You're a
thank you so
blast.
much,
And
Brian.
man, you should play live because
I
you've
will.
got a great personality.
Thank you,
Just for
sir.
that alone, you could
Well, I
keep that
appreciate it.
audience in stories and stitches, I think. You
Well,
really
thank
could.
you. With that vote of confidence, I don't see how I cannot give it a shot.
Attaboy. All right. So listen, I'm glad that I got to know you at the same time the audience got to know you, and I hope they do check out your music because you're going to hear some really cool things, gang. And in the meantime, Ultimate Rick Jones is going to tell us where everyone can find you and your stuff.
Yeah, check me out over on bandcamp.com. If you're cool with Bandcamp, you can find Ultimate Rick Jones there. The whole catalog's there and a lot of all the lyrics and notes about the songs, all that fun stuff. And you can find me on all the streaming places, your Apple and your Spotify and YouTube as well under Ultimate Rick Jones. And I'll be working on that website too.
Attaboy.
It'd be nice to have.
Yeah, fantastic, man. I really enjoyed
Thanks so much, Brian.
your music and enjoyed talking to you quite a bit.
Thank you. You too.
All righty. And there's my light falling down. That means it's time to go. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316.